Hey everybody, it's Lance Dawson. I am back in the studio this week with my amigo Andrew Stewart for yet another episode of Backstage Lowdown. In studio this week, Canadian R&B artist Zochi. Andrew and I get to talk to her about her new single release and what's going on in her world. So stay with us. This is going to be a fantastic episode. Going to be lots of fun. However, before we head into the studio, let me tell you, this episode is sponsored by Look Digital Marketing. From stunning websites to full service digital marketing, they help your business shine online. See the difference with Look Digital Marketing. If you visit lookmarketing.ca, you're going to find all about those guys. They're fantastic. All right, here we go. Zochi.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Zochi?
I'm doing good. How you guys
Good.
doing?
We're doing fine. We're doing fine.
That's what's
My name is
up.
Lance, by the way. That handsome guy on the other side of your screen is Andrew Stewart. Let I just want to
Nice to
start
meet you
off.
guys.
Nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
well, wait till you get to know him. It won't be that big a deal. Um, so for those listening, Zochi just came on board, and I'm going to tell you that her background is some spectacular looking studio. Where are you?
Yeah. No,
What?
this is just the background on Zoom. I'm at home right
Oh, I
now.
gotta
Oh
gotta
wow.
start
Okay.
using one of
Yeah.
those backgrounds.
Yeah, yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
Andrew, hook me up, man. How do I get that? That would
Honestly,
be
I thought that
sweet.
maybe that was part of like your CAEMA House hookup was that amazing studio that
No,
you're
no,
sitting in.
no.
Zochi,
Actually,
just explain or settle the difference between Andrew and I. Is it Kama House or Kama House?
No, it's SEMA actually, the title.
SEMA,
Seema?
Yes, yes,
What?
yes.
SEMA.
I
I
disagree.
actually
That can't be right.
I, I think somebody that actually, is involved with the project knows how to pronounce it. We
Yeah.
Okay,
prefer
we'll give Zochi the nod, but I
faux
would like to put
Yeah.
an
pas.
asterisk by that cannot be phonetically correct. Anyway, Andrew, explain
It
why
is
you
SEMA,
asked
yeah.
Zochi about that.
Well, no, just because you're actually the first person that we've had on that's been had any involvement in CMA House. We were
Yeah.
aware of the program. One, like I'm just thinking, first off, when you started writing your music, like did it, like what was the process like, and has that changed since your involvement with CMA House?
Yes.
And also just kind of what sort of things is SEMA House actually providing to you to help promote you, help move you forward?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so when I first started writing my music, I just write by myself. I write based on my experiences or what I'm hoping to experience in the future. With SEMA, they don't really want control over that or desire to, influence that in any way. Their main duties is to just support me as an artist, make the curate spaces that allows me to, have a mental focus and time to do what I need to do as an artist. They provide administrative support, mentorship programs. We even have sessions where we just talk about, life and where we're at and stuff like that. So it's really big on just artist development, overseeing the things that my goals, I bring them my goals and they oversee that, make sure that I'm applying for applications or performances the right way, extending they're like reaching out to the promoters if they have to, not overstepping no boundaries, but just being that representative force for the artist. So it's super in the beginning stages, but so far so good. It's not I can only just speak what I've said is just me speaking based off of what I've experienced with them so far, yeah.
Yeah, like there's so many artists out there, and we have interviewed probably 90% of the people that we've interviewed are doing this all on their own. They're the
Yeah,
ones
yeah,
that are doing all the promotion and don't
yeah.
have any support, and really don't even like have anybody to lean on, and don't have any guidance. So the fact that you have the support of SEMA House, I know that what you're probably like 9 months in with working with them, and
About 4 months, I would
oh,
say.
just
Started
four
off
months.
in
Okay.
June. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Four or
So it's
five
still
months,
Yeah.
yeah.
fairly new to it. But it's
Yeah.
great to actually have that support. And I think like every artist that's trying to make it could really flourish with that.
Yeah. That's what they're here for, you know. I'm super on the independence of the artist because, you know, I one thing I've learned through SEMA is the need to be independent and be able to know how to do things yourself. So shout out to all the artists out there that are doing it themselves. But as an artist, it's super hard, you know, the burnout is a lot quicker when you have to focus on the creativity and on the administrative side of things. So that's where SEMA comes in, where we work hand in hand with the administrative stuff. And I don't feel like I'm left to do it by myself. So yeah.
So you're an artist, the artist in residence with CAEMA House, yes? Okay. Now,
Yes.
how did they discover you or you discover them? How did that connection happen?
The founder, I actually was working at the radio station in Kitchener at the time. This was 2023. I am from Saskatchewan, so at the time, I was a part of the Saskatchewan Music Organization, and Saskatchewan Music provides mentorship sessions. On the website, they provide radio stations for artists to cater to, send their music to, and, you know, stuff like that. So I sent my music to one of the radio stations, and it ended up being the founder of SEMA, and yeah, we've just been building the relationship since then. She's also been my mentor through Sask Music. And based off of my progress over the last 2 years, she thought it would be kind to, or I guess she thought I was worthy of offering the first artist in residency. So that's pretty much how that came about. Yeah.
Wow, that is exciting. So, and you're the very first one for CAEMA House, you said?
Yes, yes,
Tremendous. So this is something they're hoping to keep going.
yes, yeah.
Who's the founder of SEMA House?
Sandra,
Okay.
Sandra Hinine. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So are you on tour right now then, Zochi? So you're on tour or no, you're actually this is a real creative spot now that this position with CAEMA House, you're sort of writing and doing all the background stuff. Is that correct?
Correct. I am not on tour right now. I have put that for 2026. Right now, I'm just developing my craft and my skills. So I'm taking vocal lessons with Elaine Overholt, and I am working on strategizing for my next single slash album. So I'm just pretty much developing myself right now and planning for the next year's tour. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Where is this all based? Is it right in Toronto?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so do they provide like housing for you to be in Toronto or that's where you live anyway?
No, they did provide that. I had to move from Saskatchewan. So that's
Oh,
provided by
okay.
them. Yeah.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's exciting. We were just, Andrew and I were just talking. You had released a new single in 2025, yes? So you can
Yes,
tell
yes.
us about that.
Oh, beside me is a queer-based faith anthem. So I'm if you look at my history, I'm really just big on being authentic in my music and talking about my faith in Christ and also my sexuality, which I was able to find through my relationship with God. And not necessarily find, but I was able to accept and just walk in it without the shame and all of that, and without feeling like I'm doing something wrong. And so in 2025, also just because of everything that's happened, I think even the placement with SEMA, for me, I look at it also as part of my efforts, but also as like a spiritual guide to say that, you know, God and the universe are working hand in hand to bless me with things that can help me go further. So therefore, my sexuality is not a hindrance for God's love in my life. Neither is it going to be a negative stance in my career. If I wanted to just be a lesbian woman that sings about love, I can completely do that with God's blessings. So that's why I chose a song like Beside Me to drop during Pride Month. Yeah, so that's pretty much what the song is about. We did the music video. I wanted to keep the music video as original as the song itself. So the video was shot with no lighting at all, just natural light and showcasing God's beauty and the beautiful city of Toronto and also Scarborough. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a remarkably healthy, like a mentally healthy place, a mentally and spiritually healthy place to be. I would
Thank
my
you.
my assumption is that most people may or may not struggle with their faith. There are those that have to struggle with their faith and
Yeah.
making some sort of allotment for their sexuality, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah,
So my heart goes out to everybody that has to do the extra work to do
yeah.
that. But it sounds like you've got it in a really, really good place.
Yeah, I'm learning every day. I'm allowing myself to experience life and experience God in the way that He shows up in my life, and also just be like a positive reassurance to my community and the allies of my community, or even people that don't agree, right? I think at the end of the day, the essence of creation is love, and we've kind of blurred the lines by trying to box people up in what that love should look like. And I'm just trying to say, I mean, as long as it's between two human beings and it's
Hmm.
love, like what could really go wrong? We just have to learn and accept people for who they are, pray for them. If you don't know how to pray, support them, send kind words, whatever you got to do. It's just like a human being, from one human being to another human being. So, yeah,
I
and I
love
know
that.
that is. Thank you. I know that is tough for people as well with the faith thing. And so that's why I'm very big on being authentic, and I just share my experience, and I let people, come to me with questions, and I don't it's not my job to convert somebody. I have a lot of friends that are not Christians, or are Christians or Muslims or non-believers. They don't believe in anything. But I've noticed that the one thing that brings us all together is just that commonness of us being human. Sometimes our careers, sometimes our love for our family, our love for ourselves. So I think that's where God truly resides. Yeah.
Wow, it's well thought out. I think the want to genuinely be kind is
Yeah.
uh is key because I think a lot of the people that struggle, a lot of people that sit on the side of judgment like to pick and choose those parts of
Yeah.
whether it be the Bible or the Quran or whatever they're doctrinating. They pick and choose as opposed to, if you take it all as a whole, you're like, wow, I don't accept a lot of that. Well, if you're not going to accept that, then, maybe we just
Yeah.
look somewhere else. So you think that even Andrew is capable of being loved? Wow.
No, no,
That
no,
is,
no, no.
this is mind blowing. I had no idea. I mean, I don't know if this is a big scope you're throwing here, Zochi.
Yeah. It, it applies to
It's funny.
99% of people, but
Okay. Even
not to
even
Andrew.
Andrew. I hope somebody's
Uh,
listening to this today because that was a really, really well thought out thing. And then Andrew, you know, good for you, man.
oh man. So,
Yeah.
Zochi, just in terms of a place, it sounds like for you, for when you're writing it, it does come from a place of love, and there's lots of feelings that go into that. Um, has anything from when you've grown up, uh, being in Saskatchewan, kind of played into those feelings, and does it play into the writing? And even with the writing, do you start from a place of lyrics first, or because you have such a heavy beat driven music as well too? Does it start with the music, or how does that all come together when you're putting together a song?
Yeah, for me, it starts from a place of feelings, although I'm not opposed to it just being from a place of lyrics. But usually it starts from a place of just feeling the song, feeling my feelings. And when I go into the writing, I always just let like what I'm feeling in that moment lead. Sometimes, for example, for Beside Me, that was the one song that I really wanted to start from a place of lyrics and say, okay, I want to write about this specific thing intentionally with my feelings, but also trying to just write as a writer, as opposed to just somebody that, as an artist, that just feels whatever they're feeling. It's kind of hard for me to put it and like try to explain it the best way. But being in Saskatchewan, coming to Canada, I'm originally from Nigeria. I've been living in Canada for 13 years now. And coming to Canada, everything just made sense to me. Where I come from, like especially 13 years ago, it was very hostile for queer people, and so moving here, I actually became closer to God here because of the freedom that I found in Canada and the community that I started to build outside of the church and also in the church, to a certain degree. I'm not gonna talk
Yeah.
about that,
How
but
old were you when you actually made the move to Saskatchewan?
I was 16. I was
Oh,
16.
so
Yeah,
Wow.
there was still
yeah.
a lot of experiences from Nigeria that have really come with you. Like I was talking to Lance earlier, just saying, a lot of people, they may have just lived very short time in a location, and really it has nothing to do with their identity. But by the time you're 16,
You
you already
start,
have
yeah,
a lot of
you
life experience at that point,
yes,
and
yes,
at that point, you realize that music is probably already part of your life,
yeah,
and you can actually start writing about those feelings
yeah.
that you're experiencing, and not only feelings, just life experiences.
Yes, yes, 100%. And a lot of it was at the time was based on fear. Like I couldn't really express myself the way that I wanted to just because of my upbringing. But
Hmm.
being away from that environment and coming into this environment and experiencing life in a whole different, like just it was just so different, and just having to see that there's such a thing as Pride Month, and having to see the rainbow flags and understanding what that really represents, that it represents somebody like me and that I'm actually celebrated, that just gave me a whole 180. And then I started to get closer to God as well. I had to find my personal relationship with Him, and I started to write the music intentionally to honor, my experience. And so when I do write, I give myself time to write.
Hmm.
I appreciate just listening to music and for the fun of it and freestyling or whatever. But when it comes down to me to write, I like to give time because I believe that I have to experience life. I have to feel life and go through new phases, different phases of life for me to write something that I feel like is worthy of, sharing on a larger platform like a streaming service for the world to hear. So that's really my thought process when it comes to writing. Like I have to allow myself to live. I have to allow myself, I embrace all the opportunities and then I write a song and I highlight everything that I've been through. Yeah.
Well, I think that's
Wow.
good that you're actually taking the time to really develop the song and think about the song. I find a lot of times artists they're in such a rush to get music out, and then as Lance will say, that it just becomes a tsunami of all this new music coming out, and maybe not everything should be out on the airwaves.
Yeah,
But
we had a guest, Bree Taylor, that mentioned we talked about that, and Zochi, you remind me of her in all the best ways, in terms of you're holding yourself to a higher standard where you write something and you don't release it until you feel it's absolutely ready and it meets whatever
Yeah.
standard you're holding yourself to, as opposed
Yeah.
to a lot of people that write and they post. They write something, they post it or stream it immediately, and
Yeah.
which is what Andrew's getting at. So I think that's impressive. I think, you know what, I don't want to gloss over this. I just want to make a small mention that I really love what Xochi's saying and so much of it. It's really neat. Uh, I hope that anybody and everybody who is listening to this particular episode, um, we all, those of us born and raised in Canada, absolutely, there's so many things that we want to improve and continually get better. But it is so worth recognizing that, your very ability to bitch and complain about the government or about whatever issues you have is should be celebrated. And the fact that people
Yeah.
it can be straight and gay or whatever they want, they can
Yeah.
just be and be safe and
Yeah.
celebrated here in Canada is worth fighting for, and that whole freedom, because not everywhere on the planet is like that. Zochi, if
Yes.
you have a minute sometime this week, we did an episode with Jeff Woods, who's a very, very well-known DJ. He does records and rock stars, and you might want to reach out to him because he's phenomenal in
Okay.
talking to
Yeah.
different artists. But he just wrote a book about being bi and being in the music industry, et cetera. And I
Lovely.
remember
Yeah.
when we talked to him, he was, I asked him, I said, well, why, it's so well talked about here in Canada about being gay and, et cetera, and everybody's rights and gay marriage. Like, we just have talked about it now for a good 20 years. So why would you write a book? And he said, because there is currently at least 15 countries on the planet where you can be put to death for homosexuality.
Hmm.
And I said, and
Yeah.
so until that changes, we have to keep talking about it and celebrating it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm just really impressed with what you're saying, and I just want everybody to sort of zone in on that. That's a really
Yeah.
good point.
for
All right.
those
Thank you.
that
Thank
where
you.
there's actually prosecution out there throughout the world, if people want to help, they can reach out to Rainbow Railroad, make donations there. They are getting people to safety and, you know, is it really hopefully preventing any death that actually may even come just because of who they are. So
Is that a Canadian
I'm
thing?
not sure where Rainbow Railroad is based out of. I'd actually make regular contributions to them, but I've actually never
Nice.
looked to see where they're actually based out of. But I think it's an exceptional organization
Wow.
that
I don't care what
that
anybody says. You're an okay guy.
well, I know. Oh gosh, thanks, buddy.
I think Andrew's
That's
blushing. The
great.
light in here, the lighting is not very good. Zochi, you look great. Andrew, you should send a blushing. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
So
All
you.
right. Zochi, how is the writing process? So now you're artist in resident. I have to tell you, I'm just very, very jealous because those of us who do like to write music and stuff, it's so hard to be creative and live a life where you have to make money and you have to buy groceries and you have to
Yeah.
do all this stuff and then you have to be creative and then I got 20 minutes to myself, be creative, and that's
Mhm.
not always possible. So how is it with you? Like is this you strike me as somebody who's very disciplined. Is it hard for you to, okay, I got this artist in residence, I got to produce, I got to write. Is it happening for you or are you just allowing things to flow? What's
I can be disciplined. I'm not gonna say I'm the most disciplined person out here. But so far so good. Again, I'm just adjusting to the entire thing, and I'm also leaning a lot for SEMA to kind of just explain to me to like what their role is, what they require of me and all of that,
mhm,
But I show up every day and I let them know what my needs and my wants are. They let me know what their needs and their wants are, and we come together and we make it work, And we're not so focused on, especially me right now. I'm not focused on becoming like famous or anything. I really just want to be able to use this to develop myself and also grow discipline, because that's, like you said, being able to work and do music, got to go to work. Like I've had to work day jobs and then come back. And sometimes I come back from my day job and I'm just like, I'm so burnt out. Like I don't have the discipline to still show up for music, even though that's like my first love. So I'm so focused on just building that discipline as well by taking all the time that's given to me to do the administrative work, which kind of is like a day job too, writing those
for
grants
sure.
and putting out a thought out plan for what you want to say to the grant funders and even to SEMA and all of that. So I'm just showing up every day and hopefully that it's gonna be enough for the next one here. I'm just trusting the process. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. All right, now, do you, this is an odd question, but when you're writing, have you ever written anything for anyone else or do you do collaborations? How does that all, what's your experience with that?
Yeah, I have written songs with friends before. I've collaborated with a couple friends from back home, but nothing too big like that. I most of my songs I write by myself, and then when my friends want me on a song, or when I want my friends on a song, then we get together and we collaborate with the writing. I've also produced songs with with the producer, like sitting in the studio and crafting that beat from scratch. So. Yeah, I'm also big on collaborations. It just has to be, just has to be the right one, not just collaborating with any and everybody, but people who also understand me and I understand them as well. Yeah.
If there was one Canadian artist that you'd actually like to collaborate with, what would that one artist be?
I love Celine Dion. I don't know. She's a great, great singer, great songwriter. It would have to be Celine Dion for
Uh,
sure.
yeah, no,
Hopefully, that's a big dream. That's a really
that
big dream.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. Um, Maybe let's talk about your style of music. Like when I listen to your music and my interpretation anyway, like I'm hearing soul, I'm hearing R&B, some hip hop, maybe a little bit of pixie dust in there. I don't know what makes it so special,
Okay.
but how would you describe your music to a new listener?
Man, I would. in a very unprofessional way, I would say my music is just a feeling of everything. And I'm glad that you mentioned all those different genres in there because that's a reflection of what I listen to. But if I, to be professional, I would say my music is more soul and pop,
Okay.
like that blend of soul and pop. And they're not so much R&B, but soul is close, right? It's close to
Yeah, it
R&B.
is.
So yeah, I would just say I make soulful melodies. I like to call it African rhythms because of just my background
Yeah.
and yeah, being also an Afrobeat artist too. Like Afrobeats is very inclusive of hip hop, pop, funk, and jazz.
Hmm.
So all of those elements, and as individuals, we grow. We come from different families. We're experiencing. We might all be in the same environment, but we're experiencing that environment differently. So I think as an artist, even your personal experience to things that you're experiencing with other people can really, infect your music and make you sound a certain way or make you sing a certain line a certain way just based off of your own personal aura. So yeah.
Wow. I'm starting to think that the genres that we have all grown up with are becoming a little outdated. They always seem to be a starting point because when you talk to anybody who writes music or records music, I haven't met anybody that just says, "Oh, I'm rock," or "I'm pop," or "I'm
Yeah.
blues." Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Everybody's a bit of
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
amalgamation of what they've listened to, and
Yeah.
the lines are getting a little blurry. Like I'll say my stuff is kind of Americana. It's kind of where country and bluegrass and
Yeah.
rock and stuff. But who knows? It's all like a blend. So I'm starting to think that maybe those
Yeah.
genres, they're only acting now as a starting point to describe where where your stuff is coming from, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I'm kind of interested to see how it plays out over the next decade, maybe, because you're so right. Everybody, it's a starting point, but I think that's just it. Because then you start from there, and then like I feel like your personal experience with that genre and the other different genres as an artist is bound to reflect in your writing, in the beats that you pick or the way that you make your beats. And I think very soon we're going to be hearing a blend of different sounds and it'll be called a specific thing. And we'll be trying to really just, because we still got to have the genres, I guess, but it's going to sound different very, very soon.
Yeah.
Like I'm also anticipating like a country and Afrobeat thing real soon. We're getting close. We're getting close. We're
That would
getting
be
close.
cool. You get that drum
Yeah.
beat mixed with a banjo. What the hell is
Ooh,
happening? Holy
yes.
cow.
And the country music is right there. Is right there.
Yeah.
That's one genre
Yeah.
that I really respect for the emotions, the feelings, and the rawness of the writing.
Yeah.
That's something
Yeah.
that as a human being, I can definitely I can connect to that. Even though I don't do country, I'm like, yeah, I love
Yeah.
the country
Well, I
singers.
think that's
So
how music
shout
really
out to you. You do
develops.
country, right, Lance?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's country-esque. I think I'm like you, like I'm focused on I've always appreciated music that tells a good story. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm very willing to admit there is some horrible country out there. There just
Okay.
is. It's
Okay.
so I don't know if they call it bro
Yeah.
country or whatever they're saying. It's like that's awful. It's puerile and I don't know. But anyway, I celebrate things that tell really good stories in a meaningful
Yeah.
way and that more people can plug into it because I always think our opinions in life are directly related to our experiences. And I'm always
Yes.
amazed how many people
Yes.
have like
Yes.
ridiculous
Wow.
opinions about stuff they have no experience in. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
it's really important to have people like Zochi who's really plugged in and still going out, not spending all their time on screens and stuff,
Yeah.
because you have to have experiences in life, and then you can turn around and
Yeah.
write about them and be sincere and authentic and tell a good
Yeah.
story. So yeah, some of my stuff is country, some of it would lend more maybe to the pop side. I don't know. As long as
Okay.
the
Nice.
music and the story all happens,
Yeah.
um, and you'd said like, beside me, like there's just things that it's interesting. I was going to ask you this too, because the story is important. You're obviously mixing, I shouldn't say you're mixing, but you're writing about part of your music is about your sexuality. So it's interesting. Have you found that when you enter a room or give your product up, do people see your music or do they see your sexuality? Has either one of that, has that been a
Mm,
problem? Or do they just look at it and say, oh, this is interesting. She is a really good musician who writes well, who happens to be lesbian. Do you know what I mean? Or does that
yeah,
get
yeah.
inverted?
Yeah, that's a
What's been
good
your experience?
question. I think my experience has been mostly just people see the music, and
That's
then they
great.
can just, yeah, they can include in like, oh yeah, she's her sexuality, like she's a lesbian and stuff like that. But it's never really been the starting point of the conversation for my songs. I've always like I was on Indie Week the other day. I try to join these demo listening sessions and stuff and
Hmm.
get feedback from professionals. And yeah, like all the feedback I got was just based on the music or even my friends or people that don't know me just sending me random Instagram DMs. They never talk about my sexuality. They just talk about my music. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. You know what? I'll tell you what, Zochi, I really relate because as I grow older, I might be becoming a lesbian myself. I don't know. Men are
Of
ridiculous.
course you
No,
are.
I am. I've
Of course
decided
you are.
men are ridiculous. So
Not you
it's
want to be a
true.
lesbian.
Well, you know what? If
Yeah.
I don't want to buy a Subaru or anything. Like, let's just dial it down. Let's not hype it up. But I'm just saying
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. You're
Andrew has
funny.
now unplugged my microphone.
Yeah,
I just
no,
want you to
exactly.
know
I
that.
wish I had a
I
button
know.
just to
Zochi, you're a
turn
good
you
sport to
off
put up with me.
at time. Maybe Zochi, like if you wanted to leave somebody with a comment about, what the theme is of the theme or the message is about your music, what would that be?
I want everybody to believe in themselves, know that they're loved, and know that they're actually created here to also love other people. And to me, I think that's a really beautiful task,
Yeah,
because you're worthy of giving out that love. So when you listen to my music, I want you to feel your feelings as well and have your own experience and, you know, cover it in love, and authenticity. That's it. That's
that's
it.
awesome. That's
You know what?
awesome.
I didn't know of Zochi's music and stuff before we had her on the show and stuff. I gotta say, this is turning out to be one of my favorite episodes. It's just
Yeah.
loaded with positivity.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
With
you.
the, I mean, honestly, with the exception of Andrew's input, this has been really flawless. I think this has been fantastic.
You guys are great together. I love it. I love it.
You well, everybody puts up with me.
Oh,
I know what you're saying,
exactly.
Zochi. Just say it. Just say it. Oh my gosh. Lance
Zochi,
is off the rails.
we like to finish up our episodes with a bit of a rapid fire round. Um,
Okay.
there is no science behind it, and it's just we're going to hit you with either or questions. Lance always likes to give the example: shoes or boots, and you pick one.
Okay. Okay.
And it's judgment free. I'll judge Lance after the fact,
Yeah.
but
No, no, we judge
that's
you. We totally judge you. If you pick shoes and not boots, we're gonna talk about it
uh,
after you leave. But anyway.
so we've got 10 questions and then we'll wrap it
Okay.
up after that. So let's start this rapid fire round with sneakers or sandals,
Sneakers,
Afro beats or R&B,
R&B,
writing late at night or early in the morning,
late at night,
acoustic guitar or synth.
synth,
Where do you feel most vulnerable? In a studio booth or on a live stage?
S- live stage, live stage. Yeah.
Bold colors or neutral tones?
Bold, bold colors.
What are you painting your bedroom? What the hell kind of question was
Yeah,
that?
exactly. Well, I'm going to be holding
Bold
up.
color or neutral tones? Do you like pastels? What is that?
Faith or fate?
Faith.
Oh, that was deep.
Collaboration or solo spotlight?
Depends. Depends. Can I say
Lightning. It's
that?
lightning
Yeah,
round.
yeah,
There's no
exactly.
Okay,
depends.
You
I'll
can say
say it's
depends.
I mean,
When?
there's not really a solo spotlight. There's not such a thing as a solo spotlight because people help you get there, right?
Yeah,
So collaborations, yeah.
that's fair. Headphones or speakers?
Speakers
And last but not least, writing lyrics on paper or writing them out on your phone?
on my phone.
And that has been another episode of Backstage Lowdown.
Awesome,
Oh
awesome.
Zochi,
boy.
thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming out and doing the show today. That
You
was
did a
Thank you.
great
Thank you
fantastic.
job.
guys for having
Yeah.
me.